computer. Okay, welcome. It's Tuesday, April 5th, and I have some students here who have questions about the syllabus. And so the question that came up is, in the welcome video, we have this PowerPoint, and Michelle's asking, she paid for her book with registration, but she doesn't see an access code. Am I correct? Is that your question, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, so winter quarter was the first quarter we went to where you could buy your book when you register. Okay, it's an online book, so you pay a little extra, $100 extra, right, when you register, something like that. So because we have something called inclusive access this quarter, it means if you bought your book at registration, you have immediate access to the book. So you don't need an access code. You do not need it. Now, if you did not buy your book at registration, you either opt in or you opt out. Okay, you opted in, am I correct?
Yes. So
Okay.
is that
So you're
why
fine, okay?
it just took me directly to
The Wiley
the
Plus,
book?
yeah.
So
So when you go to the, I'm going to share my screen real quick, and then let's see if I can do that. So if you're here for our class, here's home, and then financial accounting on the side where it says Wiley course resources, and you click on it, just like Michelle was just showing us, it takes you right to the textbook. Okay, it does have a few small practice problems here, but not very many, like 3 or 4 per chapter, I think. So you can read the textbook by launching it, and you can, I don't think you can get to your homework on that click, and I will show you how to get to your homework. Okay, all right. So here we are, chapter 2. You could start with chapter 1. And you can just read here. You just read, and then you get rid of that and just read your textbook, okay? Now, I do want to show you, so let's bring the table of contents back up. So for chapter 1, you've got review and practice, end of chapter homework, and then we're not going to look at IFRS for problems, but you're going to be responsible to know what it stands for and what its purpose is, okay? But all the homework problems here, you're going to be doing them online, not all of them. The homework problems are here, but and you can read them ahead of time, but you're going to be doing them online. So let's go back to the website, and we're going to go to units and modules. And you guys are on the getting started piece, but let's go to chapter 1. I'm going to do student view. Chapter 1. If you try to click on the homework now, it won't let you. It will make you watch the videos first, and then you can go to the homework. It will say, no, you've got to watch all these videos. And see how they're all orange here? After you watch them, the video will turn, that color will change from orange to green. And that way you'll know which ones you've watched and which ones you haven't watched. So after you've watched the videos, you'll go to the homework, and then you can attempt the homework. And that will take you back to the Wiley Plus website. Okay. So,
I have a question about the videos.
Yes.
And the packet, actually. I know you recommend printing out your packet because it helps you throughout the course.
You're talking about the course pack? Yes,
the course packet. Is that does that go along with the videos? Is that what we should be taking notes using, or is that like
it does go along with the videos, or it's another practice that relates to the videos. I recommend it. Again, it's not required, but it gets you into the habit of, especially if you actually print it out. All the exams are on campus. There's 3 proctored exams, and so it gets you into the practice of actually pencil to paper and doing the practice problems. So yeah, it's a recommendation for, if you were in my online class, I'd say, yes, print the course pack, bring it to class every day, and we use it for problems.
Perfect. Thank you. And so like when it says, please take notes, you would recommend using the packet instead of just a normal piece of paper?
Whatever works best for you. My students do all sorts of creative stuff for notes. I have a lot of students who did really well with flashcards. So chapter 2, I wouldn't recommend flashcards except for like vocabulary. But starting with chapter 3, we have homework problems that are journal entries. It's how we track accounting transactions. And so you can have what we call the prompt or the question on one side and the journal entry on the other. And students last quarter had a lot of luck learning the material by using those flashcards, because accounting is like a language. And so it really is helpful to be able to drill your language. So first test will probably not be that hard. I mean, it's hard. All my tests are not easy, but it won't be that hard. But then the second test, then all of a sudden you have to know like 30 journal entries. So it's good to start practicing in advance. So to prepare. So you come here, you watch, you start with the readings and videos, but the tasks are the assignments that have points associated with them. Okay. All right. All right. Sabrina, did you have some, Michelle, did I answer all your questions or do you have more?
Yes, I just only have one quick question left is when I try to click on the units and modules, I noticed that for the units 2 or the module 2, I did not have any access to that. So when I click on the link,
Here?
I mean not the chapter 2, unit 1, chapter 2, when I click on that, it says access
Access
denied.
to, yeah. Did you want to go peek at all the modules?
I try all of the modules and it's just fine.
Okay. Except for chapter 2.
Yes, and that's
Okay.
it. That's
We'll
the end
fix
of
that
my
one. We'll fix that one.
questions.
I need you to know that we're going to do a term project, and it's going to be, but I have not picked the companies yet. I picked the companies, and then you guys select what companies you want from my list. So I like to pick companies that have meet certain criteria, like they have inventory. They're on the public website so that you guys can get to them. So there'll be a little wait for that, but that's not due yet. So you have another little bit of time on that, but I'll let you guys know when I pick the companies. So, all right. So I'll fix chapter 2 and make sure you guys have access. Sometimes I lock the future modules. So some students work way ahead, and then sometimes I change an assignment and they're like, but I did the old assignment. So I don't think I'll do that this quarter. So, all right, Sabrina, do you have questions?
Yeah, so I printed the pack, and then I saw there's some practice. Where can I find the answer? In video
Yeah,
or?
it should be. And if you can't find them in the video, let me know and I'll send them out to you. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. The way I like to do teaching is I talk a little bit and then stop the video, or in class, I stop talking and say, okay, now practice. Any questions? Of course, no student has a question. Then I say, do a practice problem, and then everybody has a question. So that's just human nature, right? You know, you're just kind of listening and then you have questions when you have to do it. So
Also, the exam will be multiple question or in like essay.
writing, yeah, it will
Writing,
all be,
okay.
it'll be problems. And that's why I say it's a good idea to practice with pencil and paper. There really is, you know, there's a lot of learning theory that says if you actually do it with pencil and paper, you have like a muscle memory. It's like sports almost. It's faster for you to take a test. So your body just knows what to do and goes to it. So it's a combination of your head and then your hand knowing what to do. So kind of silly sounding with accounting, but seems to work with learning. So there will be 3 proctored exams. They'll be 100 minutes long, and it'll be based, I will do a practice exam for you guys to use. It won't be identical, but if you do well on the practice exam, for sure, you're probably going to get like a C+ on the exam. And then if you really understand the practice exam enough to do different problems, you'll do fine on the exam. So, but if you're just like, if it's exactly the way it looks on the practice exam, you'll probably be okay, but you won't probably get an A because I'll move questions around a little bit. So I always tell students, when you prepare for an exam, go to the back of the textbook and look at questions back there. And if you go to the, we have an online tutoring lab, you can always ask the tutors for help and say, I did these problems, can you check the solution and see if I understood it, if I got the same answer. So, and then there's practice homework as well. So, and the practice homework isn't worth a lot of points. It's like worth a 0.3 points. It's just meant for you guys to practice, and you get like 10 attempts. Just another way to practice.
And the practice homework it's like usually a smart idea to attempt that before the actual homework.
You know, it depends on the student. I would, if I were a student, because then I want to know what's coming. And then you can also look at the list of questions in the homework and then go to your textbook and see the same questions there and just kind of read them through. So sometimes that helps in advance, and, you know, and do them with pencil and paper and then do them online. But some students do the practice homework before the homework. Some students do the practice homework after, so they don't forget. So yeah. And then usually on Tuesdays, it's not just like office hours. I usually go over something, whatever you guys want to go over. But it's, let's see.
Hi, Professor.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, good. I'm good. How are you?
I am so good. Let's see. Good.
Professor, can I ask, would you like to upload this video to the canvas so I could go review what was all the things?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll send it out as an announcement and a link to a YouTube video. I'll do that right after this. Yeah.
Okay, because I got some other thing busy. I'm sorry about.
No
I
worries.
was wondering to purchase the homework access, because I have the access to homework, but I just don't know where to purchase the book.
Did you purchase the book when you registered for the class, Joe?
Um,
Or did
I
you
don't
opt
think.
in or did you opt out?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you remember?
Let me check my bank account.
That will tell you. It actually will tell you. So let's see.
Okay. I'm sorry, Professor. I've got other things busy on.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
no problem.
All right.
Let's see what it looks like. Unfortunately, I cannot seem to tell who's opted in or who's opted out.
Professor, so we just need to open and then we can get into the assignment page to
Mhm.
start. Okay.
Yeah, but it makes you watch the videos first
First, yeah, I know.
on my page. It won't.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out. So like here, you can go into the homework and you can see what homework it is, and you can look at it in your book first. And you don't have to start it. But I was wondering if I had a students. See. Okay, looks like you're all on here. So Michael is here. Michelle is here. Hunter, you're here. You're here. Sabrina. And I think. So that tells me you opted in, I think. So. All right. And Luca, I don't see. Let's see, Luca Makader. Tell me, Luca, do you know if you opted in or opted out when you registered? I can't hear you. Your sound is on, but for some reason I can't hear you. Let's see. You can put it in the chat if it's easier. So it all depends on when you bought, whether you bought the access, bought the book at registration or not. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes.
There you go. So when you say registration, do you mean the registration through Bellevue College, or do you mean the registration for whatever this is?
I mean the registration through Bellevue College.
Either I'm missing something or I wasn't asked to opt into anything. I remember the process. It didn't really ask me to do anything of that sort, but
Well,
Um,
you will be able to access Wiley. If you did not opt in and purchase the textbook, you will be able to use Wiley Plus for 2 weeks. Okay. And it may prompt you to purchase an access code. Do you have because after 2 weeks, if you did not purchase the book, it will drop you.
okay, I mean, I can check if it was in my charges for the actual, like, could it have been something that it charged me for, like, automatically, if that makes any sense?
I think what happened for the rest of you? Did you have to opt in? Was it a formal process? I
Because
know, kind of weird, but it's a new process.
no, I've never dealt with this Wiley thing before, but I mean, I'm sure I can still purchase it, right? It'd be a little weird
Oh
if it
yeah,
wouldn't
no,
let me know. Now,
it'll
yeah,
prompt you. It'll prompt you when you get in, and it'll say, would you like to buy the
Yeah.
book?
I've been busy for this day for the most part. I'm gonna get to this Wiley stuff now, but I just thought
Right.
I'd join into the session to see if there's anything that I'm gonna miss.
No, so just like I said, you'll be able to get through Wiley, and then if after you watch the videos for chapter 1, you'll be able to go to the Wiley Plus homework. And
Okay.
then you'll be back in Wiley Plus, which is the online software and the online textbook. And then it may prompt you at that point to purchase the book, or it may wait a week and then prompt you. So,
Okay. Yeah.
so Michelle and Sabrina, and you've already gone to Wiley Plus, yes?
Yeah, textbook.
Just the textbook, not the homework, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
I've tried to click on the homework and I think I can access it even though I didn't watch all of the videos for some reason.
Oh, well, that's the way it's supposed to work. So the only reason I set it up that way, Michelle, is what kind of computer are you using?
MacBook.
It might be different for Mac. The only reason I set it up that way was because I had students that didn't know I had videos, and until like
Oh.
chapter 5, they're like, man, these are really helpful. I'm like, yeah,
I
they are
just try
helpful.
to like play around, like just prepare before, like I just want to see if I have any questions to log in and log out the stuff.
Mhm.
That's why.
So,
Oh, and I also I just have this one questions that just popped up on my
yeah.
mind. I noticed that we have the test that is using lockdown browser and using a webcam
Mhm.
while taking the test. I wonder, like, even though that I can speak English pretty well, but I kind of rely on Google Translate a lot, using while reading the materials, and I wonder like if the exam will be like that, like when you put the words, will it be sometimes it's hard for me to understand, so
I
that
think
can I use Google
you
Translate
get
or
2 tries for the quiz to allow for that.
okay.
And you
Mm.
will, once you're in the quiz, I don't think you can go in and out. I don't believe you can go and do internet search. The idea is that you know the material and you take the quiz. So,
Okay.
but let me know after the first quiz how things are going for you.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Like I understand that like we will memorize the materials in English, and but like sometimes the questions might be confusing when I just read it. But if I
Mhm.
translate it, it might be easier for me to understand in my language. But it's just like
What language is it? Is it Mandarin?
no, it's Vietnamese.
Vietnamese. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's fine.
Let me know how it goes for you. It should be
Okay.
pretty much what you're seeing already in the textbook. Okay.
Okay.
If you're in the exam and you don't know what a word means, you can always ask me during the exam,
Oh,
because I will
really?
give you, but for quizzes, I won't be available during the quiz because it's online. So, but during exams, if there's a funny word that you're just not familiar with, for example, we talk about equipment,
Mhm.
different types of equipment. You know the word equipment, but you might not know the word forklift.
Forklift. Okay.
And so you would say, I don't know what forklift is. And I would say, it's equipment. And you would say, oh, that makes sense. And then you could go on and do the problem. And so a forklift is a piece of equipment that's used to, it's got two strong metal things. It picks up a box and it lifts it up and puts it on a shelf. So it's like it's called a wooden platform. It's called a pallet. And you stick it in and there's inventory on top.
Okay.
And you go and you put it on. But I mean, if you don't know what forklift is, it's not really a word that shows up when you're learning another language. So I would just say it's equipment. So
So since the quizzes have 2 attempts, and if I've already completed the first one, but I figured out that there are some words that I don't understand, do I have to keep going with the second attempt, or I can just like sign out and then ask you some explanation?
I think that you can take a break between the first quiz attempt and the second quiz. And I think, I'm pretty sure you can, but it may not be the same questions on the second time because it's like, I think it's 10 questions and I think there's maybe 25 possible questions. So you may get different questions. So.
And do we allow us to have like kind of like a blank piece of paper so that
Yeah, you can use
Oh,
scratch
okay.
paper, but when you do the check-in on lockdown browser,
environment
hold
check,
up
right?
your paper and you
Okay.
show, and don't have anything written on there, just have one, blank and show it to the camera. So yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I understand. Thank you.
And then I get a report afterwards and it says, oh, go to minute 12. There's something funny going on, and I'll go look at the video to see if there's something weird, and maybe we have a conversation afterwards. So
Okay.
yeah, but it's good.
Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome. So do you guys have any questions about the material, or is it too soon yet? What? Oh, go
I
ahead.
have
Hunter.
one question about like, I guess kind of pacing. I know like it's an online class, so you have a lot more flexibility on when you should do assignments, but like about how do you recommend that we like space things out versus like the homework and the quiz? Like obviously unless you have like a certain week that's super busy, you wouldn't want to cram it all in one day, but like what would you recommend for pacing it, like days between homework and quiz leading up to it, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Hunter. Tell me something. What have you guys done in the past in other classes? What other classes have you taken, or not what classes, but how have your other online classes worked at Bellevue College?
In my other classes, there's like a lot less, like it's just open for a certain time. It doesn't like open on this date and close at that date. So I'm usually like working ahead and like just working whenever I feel like I'm comfortable moving forward. But with this class, it's different because like it's a certain date where you have to take the test. So it's not like you wouldn't get ahead because you're focusing on that test, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to adapt my strategy now.
So a lot of the assignments don't lock, but the quizzes, they do lock. Okay. I can't think of other assignments that lock, but maybe they do. So, I mean, this week is pretty clear, open. You have a quiz, a syllabus quiz, and you introduce yourself. And then you can see the homework. I'm trying to keep it close to the same day every week. Homework due on Monday. It doesn't always work that way, but I try. And then the quiz within a day or so. This quiz 3, I delayed it because you guys are going to work on a big Monopoly assignment, and you'll do better on the quiz if you finish the Monopoly first, because it gives you more practice. Okay. So I think with the quizzes, if something comes up and you need access to a quiz early, Hunter, you can always ask me and I can moderate the quiz just for you and say open closed on this earlier date. Okay. So like sometimes students have said, hey, I'm going out of town. My family's going out of town and we're going camping, or we're going somewhere, the Wi-Fi is no good. Can I do the quiz Thursday instead of Friday, or whatever day it is? And that's fine. Just let me know. Okay. Let's see. And then I usually do, so you'll do Monopoly, then you audit another person's Monopoly, and then we go into that week of the exam. And so the week of the exam, we do the practice exam. I do a review session for the exam, and then all the practice homework is due the night before the exam. And the idea is I want to leave that open till the last minute so that you have a chance to, and I think it's open right away. There's no time on it. And then we start back in chapter 4 Monday, chapter 4 quiz Tuesday, that kind of thing. And then our exam conferences. Okay. So, and then we just interlay the project in here. So so for pacing, I try as a teacher to never have a Saturday deadline. Exams are always on Wednesday. I do have Sunday night deadlines. So again, if you're going out of town, you don't want to do that. You can do it, earlier over here. And then I think students typically, just trying to look here. Yeah, we're back on Monday homework and quiz. Yeah, and then final exam. So I think accounting is, I think you probably have had classes where there's just like 3 exams and that's it. Have you had that experience? Yeah, this accounting doesn't work that way because you really have to do the homework, because I really want you guys to not be surprised by the exam. I want you to have a lot of practice in between and the quizzes and all of that, and the account identification quizzes. So in a way, if you're a really good student, you might think, oh, there's too many assignments, just give me the tests. But for most of us, we need the weekly practice to be, it's like a math class, it's applied math. So it's a little bit different, but I think for me, I use the calendar myself. I print it out and I gave it to you on the getting started link. And I just highlight something when I've graded it, and you should like check it off when you've submitted it. And sometimes Canvas gets a little bit crazy where it won't take assignments, even though you submitted them at like 11:58 p.m. And then you end up submitting it at 12:02 a.m. Just shoot me an email and say, I really tried, but it was locked up for 4 minutes or something, But I know with some instructors, if you're 1 minute late, that's too bad. So, but I think what makes this class a little bit challenging is there are a lot of little assignments. Okay. And I just would strongly encourage you to keep up, because it will help you learn if you do them all. So. What are you guys majoring in? Are you all business majors? Or are you doing something else? What are you majoring in, Luca?
I'm majoring in computer science, but I want to get associates in business.
Sweet, yeah. I had that. You're the second student who's a computer science major that I've had. It's a really good connection with the business and accounting and finance and computer science. That's really. That's really
I think it's going to help me.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a question before I have to go.
Mm-hmm.
For contacting you, I know it probably says on the syllabus, but what's the best way?
Send me a Canvas email. I check
Okay.
Canvas all day long. If for some reason I'm not paying attention or I'm in a lot of meetings, you can always use my regular email, but I actually check Canvas more than my regular email. So, and I'm online all day long.
I mean, it kind of like gives you notifications for me anyways. Like it sends it to my email like, oh, hey, you actually got this Canvas message. So it makes sense.
Great.
And out of curiosity, why do you decide to use the Wiley Plus thing instead of the regular Canvas assignments? Is it just what you're used to?
So what it does is that's our textbook. And so the Wiley Plus is just an online version of the paper homework that's on your textbook, if you were to print your textbook out. So it's the same homework. If I used regular, it actually has sort of a look and feel of the regular assignments, because you go in through assignments to do it, but the online homework gives you more practice. It gives you more videos, and it gives you feedback on your homework.
Makes sense.
Right away. Yeah. I'm not a fan of online homework, but it seems to be something that helps students a little bit more. So
It's like that.
I'd rather go over it as a class and say, this is how you do the homework. Any questions? But everybody learns at their own pace. So yeah. So everybody else is business major? And then where are you hoping to go to college after Bellevue? Stay here or go somewhere else? Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
I want to get into foster school.
Mhm. We put students there every year. So, so if you're starting 201 now, will you be getting your associate in business next spring or next winter?
Next spring, I think.
Okay, okay. So you have some time, yeah. There's
Yeah.
a lot you should know about University of Washington, and one of the things that they require is the writing skills assessment. Foster does, and it counts for 35% of your entrance. And so I'm also an advisor for the business leadership community, which is a student organization, and we actually run practice exams for the writing. And you don't need to do it now, but maybe next fall or next winter, before you take the real exam at Foster, take 2 or 3 practice exams here, and it will help you.
Okay.
So, how about you, Hunter and Michael?
I have not declared one yet, but I do want to do something like business related, but
Mhm.
I got accepted into BYU
Oh,
recently.
congratulations.
Thank you so
That's
much.
a great school.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, and they have a really good accounting program, and I've been really looking into that, and I'm hoping with this class they'll be able to. I don't know if it technically accepts the credits transfer, but I'm hoping I can have more background going into it and have that built up accounting knowledge.
Will you start in the fall?
No, I'm gonna take a 2-year gap year. I'm gonna serve a religious mission.
Oh, cool.
And I'm gonna
Very
go.
cool. Do you know where you're going?
Not yet.
I guess they don't tell you right away. So-
Yeah.
So you're right. They won't accept 201 by itself
Mhm.
because all the universities teach accounting 201 and 202 in 1 quarter,
Yeah. Mhm.
and they cram it in. So this will help you. This will help you
For
with
sure, for
whatever
sure.
class you take that's called financial accounting.
Mhm.
At Foster, at one point, they would say their financial accounting 1 course, 50% pass rate,
Mm.
because it's just so much material in 1 quarter.
Sure.
So this will
Really
help you.
competitive.
If you had time to take 202 in the summer, it would transfer probably as that financial accounting course.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. If you take this course, it'll help you set you up to be successful.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
yeah. So, Michael, where are you headed? And then
Well, I mean, well, currently I'm trying to get my associates hopefully by the end of fall 2022. And hopefully I'll transfer to CW in Des Moines, though. Central
oh
Washington
yeah,
University.
yeah. That they have accounting.
Which is in Highline College though. So because and also I'm kind of like, well, I mean, COVID's been very tough for me. That's the reason why, like, I kind of took, because I started fall 2019, then I failed.
Oh,
That's the reason
yeah.
why, like, I'm probably one of the oldest in this course, though. So,
Probably
I mean,
not.
like, yeah, I mean, like, so, but I just hope I can get an associate's better than no degree. It's a good start, though, at least, though, right?
It's a really good start, and if you're that close, you should finish it. I will tell you that University of Washington Bothell is going to be at Bellevue College starting this fall.
Okay, yeah, I mean, and plus, like, I mean, the reason I thought about Central because I mean, like, I know that for sure that UW. I mean, I know for sure it'll be hard for me to get into because I'm not one of those like genius like students, like especially like like, and I mean, plus like, I mean, like, I'd rather not talk about because this is like kind of like my private stuff though. So
No, you don't need to talk about it, but I just want you to know that University of Washington Bothell is coming, and they're not having accounting here, but they're doing something called supply chain, and they're doing entrepreneurship. So, and that will be a bachelor's degree, and they're also doing one of their master's programs here. So we're excited. So it'll be similar to what you're doing at Highline. It's like it's at the community college, but the university is leasing space. And I think Central's a good school. They've been doing that for years, and actually graduating quite a few accounting students. So,
right, yeah.
well, I hope you like accounting.
Right. I mean, yeah, right. All that matters is that like, I mean, I just need this course and I need 202, 203, and then I think was it business administration in fall 2022, and then I should be done by that year. In that
That's
quarter.
great. That's great. So business administration, you mean business statistics?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
whatever it is at BC currently. I mean,
Yep.
so.
Cool.
But yeah, in the meantime, right now, I'm just kind of like I just been very frustrated that throughout the quarters though because of COVID, right? So.
How do you guys
But-
feel about online? Do you like it better or do you prefer to be on campus?
I like it.
You like it better?
That's the flexibility.
Mhm.
Quarter, depending what course, excuse me.
Say it again, Michael.
Depends what course though, so.
Yeah.
Because like I had some courses that were like hard, but good luck that I had them in person last quarter though.
Mhm.
Like I had I think classes like microeconomics and economics though, macro. So
Did
I
you have Chase Steele for your teacher?
oh yeah, I had Chase for micro though, and then and I had his name is Christopher. I can't pronounce his last name, but yeah, that was for macro from last quarter. I mean, we had him. I had him about like 2 days, like 2 days a week though, instead of like all week because of COVID and plus of scheduling. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but
I
lucky
know.
that I don't have to take those classes anymore because I almost did not do so good, but
I'm glad you took him in person. I think anything with kind of math and numbers is good in person, but it just depends on the student. Some students are fine with online everything. So I just wonder if online is easier, but
yeah, it just depends.
yeah. All right. Do you guys have any more questions? I'm happy to. I'm here till 5:30, but unless you want to go over the
I guess
material.
I have one more question actually,
Shoot.
which like it's an interesting one, but I know we have the homework one due on Sunday, I believe. Is that correct?
Correct.
I haven't started yet. Do you think I should like start on that tonight, tomorrow? When do you think would be a good time to?
Oh, I would take a look at it. I'd take a look at the practice problems. So when I was a student, I never read a textbook until my last year of my master's program. I would read them, but I wouldn't read them ahead of time. I'd just go straight to the homework and then flip back to the example problems. And I just don't recommend that for you guys. But if that's the way you like to do it, I would go to the I wouldn't click on the homework. I'd click on the practice homework down here and look at the problems and then look at the book and kind of see what makes sense, how much you need to read there. I think it will let you do the practice problems without watching the videos, but I think that I think going through the videos and doing kind of stopping the video and seeing if you can come up with the answer, that helps too, and then following along with the course pack. So I try to tell students plan 2 hours for homework, but maybe that's too short. Maybe that's too long for chapters 1 and 2 because they tend to be a little bit more general than when you get into real problems. But so I would not wait till Sunday night to do the homework. I'd work on it a little more sooner. So, and you guys are you guys all working? Nope.
Yeah.
So that means you have to be super organized. So in some ways it's better because it forces you, I have to study right now because yeah. As long as it doesn't make you too stressed. All right. So if you look at, I'm trying to think of, the chapter 1 material is so much more theory. So of course, and financial statements. I mean, I am happy to walk you through financial statements if you want, or if you want to take off, that's fine too. What's your preference?
I don't have any plans, so I'd be happy to watch.
Oh, I got a chat and I was ignoring it. Let's see. Oh. That's good. All right. Okay. So you want to just take a quick look at the statements? Let's see, share screen. I think I was on there already. Screen 2. Okay, let's do that because we've got 10, 15 minutes. Okay. Okay, so let's look at the statements. So different types of businesses. We're going to be studying corporations. We're not going to be studying partnerships or sole proprietorships. Okay. And who uses information? Why do we need information? Big discussion on ethics. And so if this were my class, I would talk to you guys about dim sum and ask, and I ask people to say whether they've ever eaten dim sum, and usually half the class has and half the class doesn't know what I'm talking about. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I hope. Nope. Yes, I figured Michael and Yoon did. So think of it as appetizers, little snacks. And my assignment for the class is to think of all the activities that businesses do. Do they buy inventory? Do they sell a restaurant meal? Do they work the table? In dim sum, they go around with little carts and have food, and you pick the food you want from the cart. Actually, you don't touch it, they touch it and put it on your table. And then we identify what of those activities are operations, investing, or financing. And I think when you start a company, the most important thing you do, the first thing is you get money. Maybe you invest your own money, maybe you invest stockholders, outside investors, but that's your financing, and it could be stockholders, or you could just borrow money from a bank. If you're a new business, no bank is going to loan to you. Okay. We have an alumni, Brandon Ting. He started a chain of restaurants, beginning with the first restaurant, which is on 148th and Main Street at the Kmart shopping center, Walmart shopping center. It's called Kazuki Ramen. Has anybody eaten there? Really good ramen. He started that restaurant with two partners that they were friends from Foster School of Business. And he borrowed all his money from his family to start the business. His family believed in him, and his partners' families believed also. Everybody gave money. And they started Kazuki Ramen. So that would all be equity because they were stockholders, or they set it up as debt. Maybe they said, you can have this money, but you have to pay it back. Okay, so it depends on the terms. Okay, so equity, they give the money and it is not paid back. Debt, you borrow the money, you say, I'll pay you back with interest. Okay. So Kazuki now they had trouble during COVID. They had a lot of trouble during COVID. And they have done well since COVID. They were super creative. They gave away free meals to healthcare workers. They did some wonderful stuff. They tried to keep their employees as much as they could. And they're now, they're at like 12 stores, 12 restaurants. Investing is when a company buys big things with a long life. So 3 ways to invest for right now is land. Company buys property. Company buys or builds a building. And a company puts furniture inside the building. Those are long-term investments, long-term assets. If a company's really rich, like Apple or Amazon or Microsoft, they'll go out and spend their extra cash buying stock in other companies. Okay. All right. But when we think of a company and when we describe what a company does, often we're mostly describing operations. That's the day-to-day stuff a company does. They buy inventory. They make it into beautiful dim sum. They sell it for a higher price than they bought it. And then sometimes if a customer doesn't pay right away, they will bill the customer and the customer will pay later. Michael.
Yeah, so this is kind of off topic though, but unfortunately I have to run now. So
No worries.
but yeah, but thanks for today though.
Oh, you bet. I'll do this every Tuesday. I will record it if you can't come. But it's better if you come and then you can ask questions in the moment. So, all right.
Yeah, and also like those pretty much like the people that we had today, like like especially Hunter or Sabrina, we had though, they pretty much answered the question that I was going to ask anyway, so that's perfect. So
perfect, awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So let's.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you. All right. Well, we've got about 5 more minutes. You want me to keep going or stop? Go. Okay. So here's an example of the income statement, and an income statement should feel pretty familiar, even though you've probably never seen one. Maybe you have. Have you seen an income statement before? Nope. Okay. So revenue. So the word revenue, sometimes in society, we throw around the word revenue. It means in accounting, it means what you sold, the selling price. So if you sold in this company, they do outdoor tours. They charged a bunch of people for tours. The customers paid money, and the total amount that the customers paid for this month was $36,000. Okay. And I can't remember if I gave the selling price. I don't think I did. Okay. Let's not worry about it. So this is a guide service. They do different trips. Okay. Here are expenses, salary, gas, supplies, etc. And they add up to 29,400. You subtract expenses from revenue and you get something called net income. Net income is called more commonly profit, but in accounting, we call it net income. If your expenses are higher than your revenue, this would be a negative number and we'd call it net loss. Okay. Okay, the next statement is kind of a strange statement. So what is revenue? Earned from sales for a specific time period. So revenue is kind of like if you work in the United States, at the end of the year, you get something called a W-2 document, and it tells you all the money you made from that company for the year. And you look at it and you go, where is all that money? Well, you spent it probably on food and rent and everything, but the W-2 tells you all the money you made for 2021 or 2020. Okay, so it's a time period. Okay, expenses are any costs that you spent during that time period to create that revenue. And that sounds kind of funny at this point, but just bear with me on that definition. Bottom line, net income. If it's a loss, it's negative and it's a loss. Okay. So examples of revenue, anything with the word revenue in it, anything with the word earnings in it. I think some of your homework calls it earnings, and that's revenue also. Commissions earned, consulting fees earned, that's all revenue titles. And then expenses are all words with expense. There's one more expense that doesn't have the word expense, and that's cost of goods sold. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Dividends are not expenses. Okay, so here's that income statement. And how is net income calculated? So tell me with your hands up. A, 2 for B, 3 for C, and 4 for D. Which is the correct answer? How do we calculate net income? Yes, yes. All right. Okay, now this would be on your course pack, Hunter, and you could practice here and then you'd see the solution here, okay?
I saw it in the video, so.
Yeah, it's there too, right? Yeah, so you can, but if you're watching the videos, I would just stop here, hit pause on the video and try it either in the course pack or scratch paper. Of course, you can just watch it, but it's kind of good practice. All right, we have 2 more statements that are not as easy as the income statement. One is retained earnings. And if you have the income statement and you have something called the balance sheet, the retained earnings is like the bridge between the 2 statements. Okay. Okay. You have to do it in this order. First income statement, then retained earnings, and then balance sheet, because you need information that comes from the income statement onto retained earnings. You need that information on the retained earnings statement to use in the balance sheet. So if you can't do them out of order. Now, mathematically, you can do them out of order, but it's just a little bit trickier. All right. So here's that income statement again. Okay. All right. So retained earnings is a funny statement. So Outdoors is the tour guide company. It just started business July 1st, 2018. So retained earnings for the first month of business is going to have a 0 balance, but from then on out, it won't. Retained earnings has 4 lines: beginning balance, plus net income, which we have it here. We got it from the income statement, minus dividends, and then you calculate ending balance retained earnings. So that's the yellow is a calculation. Okay. All right. So what is retained earnings? It's the lifetime profit and losses of the company minus any dividends. So this one's only for 1 month, but next month, August 1st, we have more sales, we have more expenses. And then when we do our retained earnings statement, after we've done our income statement, our beginning balance will no longer be 0. It'll be 6,040. Okay. All right. So if it had a 2,000 beginning balance for the other company, you'd put that there. All right. Balance sheet. All right. So here's our retained earnings statement back to outdoors. You need this ending balance to update retained earnings. So typically your homework problems would be something like, here's a list of accounts, make an income statement, make a retained earnings statement, make a balance sheet. Okay. And the income statement, retained earnings, and balance sheet are super simple for chapter 1, but it's just to get you used to the statements. All right. So I want to point something out to you. The accounts that are on the balance sheet, with the exception of retained earnings, aren't on the income statement. They're separate accounts. So revenue accounts, expense accounts are on the income statement. Asset accounts, liabilities accounts, and stockholders' equity accounts are on the balance sheet. They can't be in both places. Okay. So here's the assets. Follow this order. Cash is always first, then accounts receivable, then you add up all the assets, then you do the liabilities, add up the liabilities, and then stockholders' equity. At this point, accounting 201 only has 2 accounts. That will change in accounting 202, but for right now, common stock and retained earnings. And retained earnings is updated from that statement. Okay. Now, why is it called a balance sheet? Because assets equals liabilities plus stockholders' equity. If you're not in balance, you've made an error. So, and then this just talks about what are assets. There's things of value, they have a future value and so forth. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how often like are mistakes made by people when making those, like using those
Well, students make mistakes all the time, which is part of learning, and it's good because you learn more when you make mistakes, in my opinion. In real life, the computer does the balance sheet for you.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But the kind of mistakes that we make in real life are we make the wrong journal entry.
Yeah.
Because creating the statements is automatic, but you can book a journal entry backwards, and all of a sudden you have a negative cash account. It's like, how did that happen? Or a negative inventory account. It doesn't make any sense, but the computer will take whatever you give it. So this formula is, you're going to get some questions in your homework on the formula. Assets equals liabilities plus stockholders' equity, and and this probably would be a good place for flashcards too. What's an asset? What's a liability? What's stockholders' equity? That would help. Just leave room on your flashcards because you're going to have more information. So cash is an asset, and it goes on the balance sheet. You could have that on both sides. Statement of cash flows, we don't use it, but I want you to know what's on it. We'll use it in accounting 202. It's got 3 major sections, and those terms again: operations, investing, which is when we buy equipment, and financing, which is when we borrow money and pay it back, or we issue more stock, and then the change in cash. All right. All right. Is this a hard question? I hope not. Put your answer in the chat. Direct message me really quick. Yes, yes, you are correct. All right. And then prepare a balance sheet, and I'm not going to have you guys do that. And then corporate. I have here's an example. Where did I put it?
Professor, do you have office hour tomorrow or only on Tuesday?
I have office hours on the schedule, but I have I don't do it like this. I just answer little questions. So, but this will be what your homework, you'll have some of this too. You have,
So sorry, I ran out of battery. on my
it's okay,
computer.
it's all right. So if it says your beginning balance is 600, 700, liabilities is 600, what's stockholders' equity? During the year, assets went down 80, stockholders' equity went up 110. What's the ending balance of liabilities? So those are just algebra problems. So you would get something like this. How do we do it? We did, and that's in your course pack too. So it would say, this is your beginning balance. So you'd have to know that, okay, stockholders' equity is 100, right? Because that's just a calculation, right? And then it would say, during the year, assets went down 80. Revenue was 200. Expenses were 90, and there were no dividends. So then you would have to know, oh, that's retained earnings. That's that net income change. And you'd say, oh, retained earnings went up this much. So how do you balance this? So during the year, if assets went down 80, stockholders' equity went up 110, what was the change in liabilities? Or you could do it another way. You could say end of year, beginning balance 700, assets went down 80. So that means what? That means ending balance, end of the year balance is going to be 620. If end of the year balance stockholders' equity is 210, do I know the end of the year balance for liabilities? No. So 620 minus 210 is 410, I think. Can't do math in front of the room. Yep. Okay. So just kind of making sure you understand the algebra there. Okay. All right. I will see you guys later. I will be here tomorrow at 9:20 to 10:10. No, 10 o'clock, 9:20 to 10 o'clock. So it's kind of early because I have a 10:30 class. So, but you're welcome to drop in then. And then I'll also be here Thursday at 1:30. So,
Thank you.
not 1:30, 10:30. And then Monday at 1:30. All right. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for coming
Thank you
by.
so much. Thank
See
you.
you.
Bye.